Hey, internets, plural, internet people. What do we got today? I don't know why I grabbed the scale first. I'm just silly. What do we got today? We got True Spin, made in the USA. Now, I hadn't seen much about these guys. And, did I just bump my camera? Boo. Jack over at True Spin reached out to me, asked me if I wanted a couple pieces to review. And you know me, I want to review content for you guys. So I said, sure. And I hadn't seen much on these. When I went to their site, I didn't even really, I kind of vaguely recognized them, but really hadn't seen them around. And then I realized, I think a couple of people have done reviews. I know Gary over on Speedy Tech did a review on these guys. But I just didn't really know much about them. But they looked all right, so I said, let's give it a whirl. So they're made in the USA. And he said he's going to send me two different ones here, both in brass. So I don't know if he follows my channel enough to know that I like brass, but we dig that. So they come in nice little pouches too. I kind of dig this little, almost looks like a little medieval kind of coin pouch. So when you cinch it up, especially with these little folds in the top, I don't know, it just looks nice. Something just slightly different, so we dig that. So he sent me this Eternity Mini in a blasted finish. Looks nice. Now, blasted finishes in brass usually patina pretty quick, so this one's still pretty new. I had it about a day, but I really wanted to get this video out there, to kind of get the first looks out there, my first impressions kind of a thing. So there you have the spinner. Pretty nice media blasted finish if that's your thing. All right, and then they sent me this one. Again, also a nice pouch. Ooh, now we're starting to speak my language here. Look at that. So this is their stonewash finish, which is almost like a mirror, almost like a polish. Now I wouldn't say mirror polish because it's definitely a stonewash. And sorry, it does have some fingerprints, but it's got a nice shine to it. And this camera that that we're looking at under here really isn't doing it quite the justice that it looks like in person. And sorry, it's getting some fingerprints on it. Apologize about the fingerprints, y'all. Really nicely machined. So is that enough of a close look for you guys? I know you guys like the close looks. So let's bring the scale back in here. Let's weigh them. Let's do some sizes, and then let's kind of talk about them. So this is called the Velocity. All right, we got that scale on. Calibrate it. 50 on the nose. All right, so we got the brass Velocity sitting in at 65. And then we got the brass Eternity sitting in at 50. So 50 grams and 65 grams. So let's just talk real quick about the different versions they offer, and then we'll really get into it. So they offer a bunch of different versions. So this is the mini Eternity, actually. They make a mini and a full size, and then they make a mini and a full size of this. Now with the full size of this, the cutouts look a little more square as opposed to where this kind of rounds in at the top, and then I'm assuming the arms are just longer because both the sizes of these, so this is the mini, this is the full size, but if I had the full size of this and this, the weight's pretty close to the same, and then with the mini of this, it's just smaller with no cutouts. And the weight's about the same. I think that one's about 55 grams, so they're pretty close in weight, although this was a little heavier in the mini. But they make it in... They make pretty much everything in blasted and the stonewash in stainless steel and brass, ranging anywhere from 45 for this guy, up to, I think, 75 for this one in stainless steel, I think is the most you're looking at. So the two versions I'm looking at, $45 here and $70 here for this guy. So let's clear some of this stuff out of the way and start getting into it. 4 minutes in, and we haven't really even done hardly anything here. So, and we got some paint in my fingers. So let's talk about this one first. So this guy, when I got it out of the box and I gave it a spin, I got to be honest, I was not very impressed. But hold on, stick with me to the end. Don't just turn it off now, because you'll miss everything. This guy comes with a hybrid ceramic bearing in it. And we should say they're made in the USA if you didn't notice that. And while I'm getting the button off here, it's made by a company that actually makes engines and like boat, I think remote controlled boat engines and billet engines. I'm not exactly sure what those are, but I'm sure they need to be machined well. But here it's pretty standard affair for a US bearing. or a USA made spinner to have that sort of bearing. But look, oh, we're press fit. So I got this, and it has this stainless steel bearing that comes in it. Hybrid ceramic bearing, and it just felt loose. Now I know with most hybrid ceramics, the looser they are, the better they spin. But with a relatively light spinner, the hybrid ceramic just didn't feel like the right choice, and it just kind of felt no two ways about it. It felt kind of cheap. And the media blasted finish isn't a finish that I really appreciate. I definitely appreciate like a stone wash finish more like this. So this just really didn't do it for me. But then I look and I saw, oh look, they sent me 2 of these. These are really nice little bearing removal tools. I said, sweet, that's nice. They sent me that to review. No, these come with every one of these that you get. And these are, now I haven't played with a lot of these. I've really only played with the Flyaway Toys one, the one I made, and now this one. This is really, 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 really nice. I don't know if I said enough for these there. So let's take a quick peek here at why this is so nice. These bearings are press fit. So these guys are making, engines. I'm sure their tolerances are pretty good. They got that stuff under control. So you have a press fit bearing, not glue, and you've got this wonderful little bearing thing. So this screw is the perfect size to fit right in here. Nice and snug, so not too much wobble. Tiny little washer fits just over the bearing. Sweet. Nothing to kind of get loose and wobble around, just screws right in. And then I literally, no joke, while I was testing the vertical spin times, literally did this one-handed. I was just kind of using it against the table like this for balance, but everything else I could do one-handed. I took the bearing out and I put the bearing in, so that should tell you something. So we'll take that off. Sorry guys, cough is still sticking with me. And then, so it comes with, when you get this, you get the hybrid ceramic bearing that's in it, and then you get this, which comes with a stainless steel bearing, which has one of those kind of like half stainless steel cages we're used to seeing on the Stealth and the Fidget HQ hybrid ceramics, but it's stainless steel balls in there, and it's an alright bearing. But you know what we do? We put the old Heck Ferula bearing in there. So we got a SB V2. But check this out. See this little extra lip here? One, that helps line this on like perfect, so that just stays right in there. But two, this body is just a little wider than the bearing, which is actually nice. So I can put that in there. Put this in here. And literally, guys, this is, I'm kind of taking the long way, oops, bumping my camera, taking the long way around to explain this to you. But this is probably, honestly, feels just as easy as using a bearing, that vertical press bearing retention ring. So we just tighten this down until it stops. And then we just back it off. And that's it. No glue, no muss, no fuss. USA made press fit bearing that is fantastic. So this blew me away. This, like having this good of a system here that comes with it. So you get the hybrid ceramic bearing, you get the stainless steel bearing, you get the bearing removal tool, which is a fantastic tool. Work with pretty much any spinner. So you're going to be good to go there. Now the offset here may cause a bit of an issue, but that can be avoided by popping them out real easy. Most of the time you're not going to be using this to screw them down tight anyway. You're going to be just putting them in by hand and gluing them. So this getting them out, fantastic. So really impressed with this. And then we threw the old super bearing in there, because we love super bearings around here. And this thing is now a dream. Even in the media blasted, I'm really liking this. So fidgetability wise, this is all over the place. Now it does remind me, I should say, a lot of some of the Van Pelt offerings, mainly in the silhouette. The different cutouts in here, especially their, what do they call it? They had a contest for their triple that basically, instead of being, was stainless steel on the outside, and then had little brass balls in there. But this thing is a friggin' dream to fidget with it. 50 grams brass cut out. It's pretty thin, but look at the nice rounding and machining that's going on in here. Like, really nice. No hot spots. These little raised weights give a lot of grip for your fingers. Now, again, it is pretty thin, and I think that combined with the light weight and the floppiness, we'll call it floppiness, of the hybrid ceramic bearing that was in there kind of had me feeling like I just didn't like it. Threw a super bearing in here, which is easy to do because they've got this beautiful, let's leave this in frame. I'm so impressed with this, I gotta say. Like, this is just, it's so nice to have something like that with this style bearing. And then the big problem with these, press fit bearings is how difficult they are to change. This removes that, so you can get your hands on something. And again, at 45 bucks for all this together, all of a sudden this starts looking like real value. So I'm impressed, and I'm sad I haven't seen quite enough people getting their hands on these and talking about them. But anyway, let's talk about fidgetability. So it's so light. You've got this nice swoop, and then it hooks out, which again I'm sure is gives you a similar feel to that Van Pelt. And I don't know enough, I should say, about who came out with what first and where, and if it's close enough to say it's a clone. So we're not going to get into that. It's not a conversation we're going to have today. That's up for you guys to decide or debate later. But man, so fidgetable. Most of the time I'm catching it in the middle, but when I catch it on the outside, because of the weights, my fingers just get grip and can pull. Flicking is extremely satisfying, and because it's so light, interrupting the spin, like this was one of my early spins that I really like. Again, the push and then wham, you whip it back in there. So satisfying. Preloaded flicks are good on this guy. Now, table spin times out of the box, we were getting with this one 3 minutes and 30 seconds on a table spin, 5:24 on a vertical spin, so pretty decent spin times for a super light guy. And a lot of times with those press fit bearings, if the tolerances aren't just right, you put weird pressure on the bearing and really kill your spin times. But anyway, I didn't test a vertical spin time with the Hex Super bearing, but with the table spin with this bearing, we went from 3:36 to 4:51. And it's smooth, it feels quality, it's got the normal bearing play that you're used to, but it doesn't have the really kind of rattliness that it did with that hybrid ceramic bearing. So this is also a perfect example of why you should have a couple bearings on hand. So you can really try a couple different bearings in them and see what you like. So I tried the bearing that came on the stainless steel that came with it. I tried this hybrid ceramic that was in it, and then again, I didn't try SB, the super bearing ones. This is a super bearing 2, but in my opinion, they're close enough where I can pretty much use them interchangeably for most things. So this thing is an absolute dream. Really enjoying this. So yeah, sweet. We'll set this down. We'll let you spin back there. And again, obviously we got a super bearing in there, so nice and quiet. Let's give it a good spin. Can you hear anything? You can't. Now let's talk about this guy. Now this guy, oh, you know what? The buttons are slightly different. So it looks like most of their spinners come with this buttons in all the different sizes. This one, the Eternity in the mini Eternity, sorry, is this one that comes with multiple circles here. So really good grip, kind of tiny buttons. We'll get the calipers out too. It's going to be a long one, y'all, because I'm doing 2 spinners in one for you. So I just got so much stuff to review. I can't do them in 2 separate videos. We just got content for days. I hope you guys like it. So just over 18 millimeters, but again, where you're grabbing them, much like the ultra spinners, ergo buttons, the dish in the middle is a little smaller, so it feels pretty small. But again, gives plenty of grip for flat grips, for pinch grips, and especially with pinch grips because it's smaller buttons. This kind of raises back up in the middle, so it's lots of grip everywhere. So it's up and down and hugging your fingers and feels really good, very comfortable. Plenty of clearance for your fingers, so you're really not gonna rub into that unless you really try. So now we'll set you back there and let you spin. Sorry for shaking the camera. Now let's talk about this guy. Now this guy's got a lot of lovely, wonderful machining on here. Now the buttons feel very similar to the ones we were looking at down there, but just a slightly different pattern. But again, look at the lovely machining going on here. Wonderful chamfers on the inside here. Everything's nice and smooth, so no hard edges. Nice and smooth and rounded. Really nice spin characteristic. Now something I like with this guy, because the light reflects here and then down here and up here at about the same, circle size between here and here, right? And then you've got this extra one in here. Essentially you get 3 concentric circles. So even though you've just got essentially 2 levels, watch what happens. It really looks, doesn't it look like we got 3 steps? Like it steps up, up, and up. I thought that was really cool. I don't know why. I really like the different spin profiles you get with this. So here, obviously, it's just 1 step. But here it looks like, you got 2 steps, like coming down and then up again, right? And then because of all the cutouts in the middle, you really get kind of like this floating, transparent circle, concentric circle effect going on. So I bet this guy warps like a champ. I haven't actually taken it outside to warp. I should have done that earlier. Because I bet just with all these cutouts and these holes, I bet it looks really cool warping. But I really wanted to show this inside, especially because I just thought that step effect, right? Doesn't it look like it's got 3 steps? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I get excited about silly things. but spins like a dream. So this one does have the hybrid ceramic that came in it, and you can kind of hear it a little bit. Those bearings are pretty loose, but I really like the feedback that this guy gets. It's a little heavier, and you know, it's got a little better profile, I think, for that sort of feedback. So again, a perfect example of why you want to have a couple bearings on hand. I did throw a Stealth hybrid ceramic in there. I did throw a Hex super bearing in there, and I actually like the one that comes with it in this guy. So, but again, that's why you have bearings around. And again, with this thing, so easy, so easy. Can I give this a kiss? I love that. Sorry, I'm just really excited about that. Hope you guys don't mind. This thing, same sort of thing, super fidgetable. Super fidgetable. Now, because it's more of a cog style spinner, I find I do enjoy, so normally my fidgeting style is the old 1-2P. But with this guy, because there's no cutouts real close to the body, you get a little better clearance, a little more spacing. So a lot of times I'm actually using my ring finger, so the old 1-3. But we can just jam on this for days, no hot spots anywhere. Really impressed with these guys. I got them out of the box again, saw that they were, you know, kind of a little thin, and was like, I wasn't sure. Started playing around with these, man, and really fell in love. I was really surprised how much I like these guys. So, and then table spins on this guy, so it's a little bit heavier, right? Not a whole lot, 15 grams. So as you can imagine, the spin times weren't that much better. We were getting 3:30 on this one. This one, 6 minutes, 7 seconds on a table spin, and 9 minutes, 45 seconds on a vertical spin. This thing just does not stop spinning on a vertical spin. Something this light, this small, I was blown away to get 10 minutes on a vertical spin. And that's with a hybrid ceramic bearing that I'm assuming is probably going to get better as it breaks in and gets clean. So, yeah, this thing is impressive. Now, this one's a little more expensive. The full-size ones on their lineup are 70, between 65 and I think 75, depending on the material and the cut. So, I think if you're looking at this in the full size, it's 70s in brass, 75 in stainless steel, and then, or no, 65 and 70. I'm not sure, but I think it's in that range, and I'll link their site down below. But again, you're going to get 2 bearings, you're going to get that cool bearing removal tool, and you're going to get one sweet looking spinner. So good buttons. I probably should play around with some other buttons on this, but I've been pretty happy with these buttons. Again, they give plenty of grip. They're not anything weird in terms of like slipping around or hot spots or sharp edges anywhere, which sometimes you get on machine buttons. So yeah, look at I mean, I really like the cutouts on the inside of this. It's really got this nice gear, you know, machine finish, but yet somewhat kind of soft and floral. Like it's a good good contrast here. Ooh, that looks kind of cool too. So I don't know if we got really anything else to say. Just I'm glad, you know, it's kind of cool doing this whole YouTube channel thing and being able to get scent spinners that I wouldn't normally get my hands on. One, it gets me exposed to things that I can all of a sudden, you know, like appreciate more. But 2, it gets the word out, and then, you know, I'm sure the manufacturers and, you know, Jack probably going to appreciate this review. I hope he does, because I'm enjoying it. But then you guys get exposed to some other stuff and, you know, get some more options, which your wallets probably won't like it, but your fidgeting will. So. Look at those steps. All right, so we're going on 18 minutes. If you didn't see, I mean, I don't really need to show you, but let's just do it anyway. Boom, look at that. Whoops, I probably should be more careful. We'll just pull this off. Put that on here. Put that on here. It's just so easy to do. Just so satisfying. We got to see it one more time. Boom, it's out. Look at lines right up there. Gets caught right in that little groove. Yeah, we just took the same, we took one bearing out and put the other same bearing right back in. On a press fit, because we can, and it's easy, and they give you everything to do it. I'm just impressed. So yeah, so if you kind of like cog style spinners, this thing is fantastic. If you like really fidgetable spinners, if fidgeting's your thing, which it usually is for most of us, these are extremely fidgetable, especially that little guy back there. If you like media blasted, you like stonewash, you like stainless steel, you like brass, they got you covered. So I can't imagine the stainless steels are anything but similar with the amount of kind of chamfering and rounding. I can't imagine you'd have the hot spot issues that you would have on sometimes the difference between stainless steel and brass. Sometimes those stainless steel ones can have hot spots the brass didn't. But boom, so we got the mini Eternity and then the full-size Velocity by TrueSpin. Get yourself some. 20 minutes. You crossed the 20-minute mark. That's plenty. Happy Sunday, Internet. Well, if you're watching this on the day it came out, happy Sunday, Internet. Love you. Kisses.